Earlier this year, we shared with the workforce some significant events which highlighted incidents that could have caused serious injury, even death, to our colleagues. It was disappointing that these incidents that caused this injury and trauma to both the employees and their families could have been prevented if someone had only intervened. To further drive home our expectations on safety and our efforts toward reduction in risk tolerance in our workforce, this video highlights several near misses which did not directly result in any events, but could have caused serious injuries. We hope as you view this video, each of you can better appreciate that how taking unnecessary risks, not following procedures, or not intervening can tragically affect yours or your co-workers' lives.
Those who have been injured thought it could never happen to them, but it did. Always stop and think of that potential hazard. Never underestimate any hazard. While on airport shuttle assignment, an MPN security chase vehicle hit a third-party vehicle, damaging its rear bumper and the MPN vehicle's front bumper, right side fender, and right headlamp. The motor vehicle accident occurred en route to Victoria Island. There were no injuries to the driver, armed guard, or the third-party driver. Accidents don't just happen. They are caused. It could have been worse. If the driver had attempted to evade the vehicle in front, spun the wheel hard, and somersaulted the truck into oncoming traffic, he could have injured or killed himself, the passengers, and innocent bystanders. If the impacted vehicle had been a busload of school children, loved ones, friends, and family could have suffered a tragic loss. How might this impact you or your family? Learning points. Driving at high speed is risky and can cause accidents. Defensive driving and keeping safe vehicle distance can prevent accidents. Driving at reduced speed within traffic congested areas can prevent accidents.
When we have incidents, it's true that quite often the injured parties and those around them recognize the hazards, the risks involved. Each of us knows almost everything that we're facing in the day. So it's a great question. The question of why do incidents still happen? For many of them, we find that the reason is that we didn't stop, think, and use the knowledge that we have to protect ourselves and to protect others.
Definitely every one of us know that the faster a vehicle goes, the less the driver can see around his surroundings. So we continue to maintain the message of making sure that they stay alive. You know, speeding, getting to where you're going safely is more important than trying to get there faster. So as much as possible, the messages keep going out to our contractors, making sure that, you know, they're telling their workforce the right things to do.
During material transfer from marine vessel MV Fast Supplier to platform using OSO RK crane, the fast line snapped while tensioning to lift the load. The load block dropped on the boat deck from an estimated height of 4 feet. No personnel were injured. Learning point.
The steps that we take to know if our SHE systems and practices are genuinely resulting in performance are many in number. We have formal assessments, we have informal discussions. At the high levels in the company, we spend a great deal of time reflecting on every SHE performance outcome that we have. When we stop and think and remember that what we're really doing is protecting ourselves and taking care of those that are our neighbors and our friends at work, we'll achieve the vision.
It could have been worse. 1 minute later, during the lift, the load could have fallen from 75 feet, The impact may have sank the vessel, endangering all those on board, 14 souls. If the crew member had stood closer to the load when the lift started and the line parted, his legs could have been crushed, possibly losing his legs, his feet, or his life. Family members of the crewman may have had to endure a long road to recovery or the loss of a breadwinner. How might this impact you or your family? Take hazards out of your workplace.
Our work is difficult. All business is a very risky business. There's nothing we could do about that. But what we can do something about is to mitigate through all the processes and procedures that we have in place to be able to make improvement in our work program.
My philosophy to work, especially when you're in high work activity areas such as a shutdown, I always say keep it safe and boring. No job is that important to risk your own safety. Step back and assess the situation. If something changes, stop, look around. Just because they have a permit which is signed doesn't mean to say that job is safe. They should make sure and assess it for themselves. And if in doubt, ask.
While a concrete mixer truck was backing off at the equipment maintenance area, it made contact and damaged a 2-foot A-frame step ladder that had been left behind after the completion of greasing activity on the bearings of the concrete mixer bucket.
Both of them, after doing the greasing of the roller at the bucket end, they picked up their grease gun and the pan they went with to in case of any spill, but forgot to take along with them the ladder. That was a significant near miss.
The truck was not damaged and nobody was hurt. It could have been worse. If the truck was on a crowded worksite, backing up unguided, it may have crushed or killed a co-worker or a close friend. Workmates and friends may have to endure a grave loss. Family members would need to arrange a funeral. How might this impact you or your family? Learning points. The driver should have conducted a walk around the mixer before moving the vehicle. The driver should not have moved the mixer without a signal man. With good housekeeping practice, the ladder should have been returned to the store.
Housekeeping is, I think, a key issue that shows up in a number of our safety incidents. And I think it's important for people to understand when it comes to looking at housekeeping, and I can tell you from personal experience, last year we had a fatality in our organization. That was the first I'd ever had on my watch, and housekeeping was one of the factors in that incident. There were a number of other factors involved.
The most important thing really is for each one of us to take safety personnel, to actually become involved, to reduce our level of risk tolerance, because safety is all about the mindset.
On the 15th of June, Antares barge was at Abang platform, and we were about to deploy a spool on the seabed. At that moment, the anchor foreman decided to move the barge ahead to create a good gap to the platform because we were too close. And the lift was due in 2-3 hours, so we didn't want to stay so close. So the anchor foreman called the dive supervisor and asked him the green light to move the barge. And the dive supervisor gave the green light, but actually he forgot the tagline was connected subsea. So the anchor foreman started to move the barge, and suddenly some diver who were at the stern doing tooling preparation realized the tagline was getting tight more and more. They called the dive supervisor. The dive supervisor called for a all stop. So the anchor foreman stopped the barge, but it was too late and the tagline broke. And we end up in this situation, which could have been worse if somebody had been snagged by the tagline.
It could have been worse. If the tagline had been a larger diameter mooring line, the snapback and whiplash may have killed anyone nearby. If the tagline snapped when the dive supervisor was standing close by, the whiplash could have hit his head, possibly causing the loss of an eye or breaking a jaw. Crew members and friends would have to deal with the medical evacuation and the loss of a crewmate. Family members of the dive supervisor may have had to endure a long trip to recovery or the loss of a breadwinner. How might this impact you or your family?
The employees deploy and apply some of the safety measures selectively. Things like stepping back 5x5, using the GSA, wearing the appropriate PPEs, approaching others in an appropriate fashion. One thing we observe is that people seem to apply them selectively.
You know, really, we have multiple safety filters that we try to put in place to keep folks safe on our work site. And in this particular incident, a number of those filters failed us.
You know, if you can always, in any situation, step back and look at the action that you're about to take or the activity you're about to embark on and tell yourself, what are the potential hazards that are associated with this work that I'm about to do? And then lower your level of accepting that risk.
I want to go back to basics again. We have one team, one goal. Everyone has to look after each other. We call it like a buddy system. So you look out for each other and you drive right down to the workplace, right down to the guy who's turning the valve or even cleaning the platform. I'd say to them, their job is as important as the guy at the top who's writing the paycheck.
My recommendation to all employees is that we need to apply these tools consistently, regularly, every time.
A safety-conscious worker is not the lesson for sharing. They learn from lessons shared by others or other people's experiences to prevent a repeat occurrence. Key message: every employee is a safety leader.
In the last representation from one of the VPs, it was sad for me to note that Mobil Producing Nigeria as an affiliate has recorded more fatality than any other affiliate in the world. But that to me is unacceptable because we cannot continue to shed blood to produce crude. So on that note, my message to the workforce is that we must key into the company's safety programs and initiatives. I have personally made that commitment on behalf of the workforce as a chairman, and I expect everybody to also personally make that commitment to remain safe and work safely.
You may not get a second chance. In life, safety is but a relentless effort to remain safe at all times. Get involved. Approach others and intervene for safety.
Everyone needs to demonstrate an unwavering commitment to safe work practices in order to promote a hurt-free environment where nobody gets hurt.
After watching this video, I believe it has reinforced the need for workforce safety and personal accountability at all times. I encourage you to remain committed to safe work practices, to the use of personal protection equipment, and to intervene at every occasion. Remember that life after work depends on you returning home safely. We remain committed to a workplace where nobody gets hurt.
Myself and my colleagues, we play our parts.
I will do my part.
I have set my commitment to safety.
I am committed to do my own part.
I'm prepared to do my part. Are you?